All right, welcome back. This is section number 2 of our leadership seminar for March. So I hope that you've already watched the session on the personality profiles and you've done that test and do you have your 4-letter combination? Mine's INTJ. Do you have yours? If you don't, go stop this video, go do that, get that figured out, then come back and watch this one. Okay, great, good. All right, so what we're going to talk about in this session is 2 things. We're going to talk about spiritual gifts, and we're going to talk about your shape profile. Now, spiritual gifts are things that are in the Bible where God gives you special abilities or talents or strengths. Some of it is a little bit more natural, and some of it is the supernatural gifting that God gives you that allows you to serve those around you and serve in ministry and make a difference in our world. Some of that is prophecy, leadership, administration, hospitality. There's a whole number of different gifts. And what I want you to do is I want you to go to the link that's in the description. There's 2 links down there. One is giftstest.com. The other one is freeshapetest.com. Go to the gifts test first, and what I want you to do is just a very simple, again, it's like the personality profile. This does not determine hard and fast what your only gifts are or what you will only ever be good at. It just gives you, I believe, your top 5 gifts, your biggest strengths based on the questions, and the questions may not be accurate. I took the test. It was fairly accurate for me, but they might not be accurate for you. It's just to give you a bit of an idea of what they are. On that site, you can also find write-ups on a number of the gifts. I think there's a dozen or 2 listed there, and you can look up the different spiritual gifts that exist and see which ones you see in yourself. Now, what I want you to do is I want you to take that test and figure out what your top 5 spiritual gifts are. What that can give you is that will help you in this next part, but what that'll give you is it'll help you see a little bit of what God has built in you through your life and what He has gifted you supernaturally with the ability to do and the strength to serve. And for example, I am not really gifted in evangelism. And so my better place to serve is not necessarily out on the street talking to strangers. I've tried stuff like that, and normally they just run away screaming. Slight exaggeration, but only slightly. But my main gifts are like administration and leadership and teaching. And so I lean into those strengths because that's what God has equipped me to do. And so I lean into what He's given me, what the gifts He's given me to serve. That doesn't mean that I can't work on evangelism. That doesn't mean that I can't serve on the outreach team. It doesn't mean that God can't develop other gifts in me. Absolutely, He can. Sometimes I really should be working on these other things. But most of the time, 75, 80% of the time, I need to be leaning in, maybe even 90% of the time, I need to be leaning into the gifts that God has given me and using those things. And so I want you to take that test and do a little reading. Look up on the website the description of what that gift is, and that should help you have a better understanding of how God has gifted you to do and how He's gifted you to serve, both in your life and in church and ministry and making a difference in our world. Now, the second thing I want you to do after you've done that is I want you then to go to well, you don't actually have to go to it. If you want to, you can go to freeshapetest.com. You don't have to do that one. That's extra, that's bonus. There's more content on it. But you really don't have to do that one. If you do the personality profile test and you do the gifts test, that's really what you need to do, okay? But what the free shape test is all about is about this shape profile, which you don't actually have to go to the website to do. What I want you to do is just get a piece of paper and write in capital letters down the side SHAPE, and that spells shape, obviously. But the first one is spiritual gifts. The second one is heart. The next one is abilities, personality, experiences. Okay, so I want you to have like 5 sections of your paper. Spiritual gifts, which you write down, say your top 5 spiritual gifts that you got from your test you did. Your heart. And what you'll do for that is like your passion, the things you care about, the issues that drive you. Maybe it's poverty, maybe it's injustice, maybe it's the lost, maybe it's the Word of God. Whatever it is, what is your passion? What is your heart? And then in the next one, abilities, those are the things that you're good at. Those things that you're naturally good at. It might be math, it may be reading, it may be music, it may be cooking, it may be organization. You write down what your abilities are, the things that come to mind. What are your strengths, your strong abilities, okay? What can you do? The next one, personalities. I want you to write down your 4-letter combination of your personality profile. And for me, that would be INTJ. And write that in that section. Lastly, for experiences, I want you to write down a couple notes about how you got saved. What are some things in ministry that you have experienced doing that you've done before? And what are some, say 2 or 3 events or experiences that have been very significant to you in your life. Okay? So when you do all that, you'll come up with a list of your spiritual gifts, your heart and passions, your abilities, your personality, and your experiences. Now, what I want you to do with all of that together is I want you to look for patterns. Okay, I want you to look through that and see what's jumping out and what is kind of calling out to you. When I did that profile for the first time, I was actually in grade 12 and I was at a youth rally, and it was the youth rally session, the preaching session before I got my call to ministry. Doing this profile really helped me see what I had never seen before, that God had been calling me to the ministry for a long time. I saw, and I had like, what are my abilities? I'm really good at math. I'm really good at science. What are my experience? I'm really good at math and science and teaching people math and science. But I also saw that I had spiritual gifts of teaching, and I had a heart for the Bible, but I was also really good at teaching the Bible, and that I had a lot of experience teaching people the Bible. And I saw on one end, okay, so I'm pretty good at the science and math and stuff, school stuff, but I had never figured out that, wait a second, God has actually equipped me through spiritual gifts, passion, heart, my abilities, my personality, and my experiences to lean into sharing the Word of God with others. And that wasn't the end of it. I didn't leave that profile and go, oh, I'm supposed to be in the ministry. It was actually a later message that the Spirit spoke to me. But that was a setup. That looking at my shape profile allowed me to see much better what I was supposed to be doing, what I needed to be leaning into, and helped me see what God had been up to for a lot longer than I realized. And so I want you to do that. And now again, that should help you understand yourself. That should help you get an idea of maybe some things you want to invest in further. It may show you some gaps that you feel like you need to fix. But it is not going to be everything. It's not going to incorporate everything or be the one thing that answers every question in your life. I got my call into ministry. That's great. I still got tons of questions. I still got tons of things to work on. And that was like 20 years ago. And so I want you to take that, go through that journey, make some notes. It doesn't have to take a whole lot of time. But do your personality profile, do your gift test, and then sit down, pen and paper, and write what are your spiritual gifts, what are your heart passions, what are your abilities, what's your personality, and what are your experiences, and look for patterns. And then on the other side of your paper or a different section of your paper, write down some of the patterns to see what God may be telling you or showing you through your profile.